So let's talk a little bit about Sam Seder. Sam Seder just got fired from MSNBC. He was a contributor there. Now, I'm pretty sure I don't need to even add all these caveats, but nonetheless I will. I'm not a big fan of MSNBC. In fact, I think in recent years they've become absolutely terrible. They're basically the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Fox News is the propaganda arm of the Republican Party, and CNN, carries water for the establishment across the board for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and they do their old school neutrality bias. But, MSNBC, they suck. They're bad. And you have to understand that it's not the same thing as MSNBC does not have a progressive bias or a liberal bias or a left-wing bias. Because if you're a news outlet and you are conservative or you're liberal or you're anywhere on the spectrum, that's fine. You can have an ideological perspective. But my beef with MSNBC is that they're the Democratic Party apologists. So, in other words, when the Democrats go right-wing and when they're massively corporatist, MSNBC is there to pretend like that's not the case. And to say, no, this is as far left as you can go is just standard Democrat line. So I'm not a big fan of MSNBC. Now, Sam Seder, he's part of the TYT network. I'm part of the TYT network. We've both been for years. Even though that's the case, I've had a grand total of 0 conversations with Sam Seder. I have, no relationship or line of communication with him whatsoever. And, truth be told, he kind of, in the last year or so, has gone after Jimmy Dore quite a bit. Now, Jimmy Dore is a friend of mine. He's also part of the TYT network. And, Sam Seder has basically said about Jimmy Dore, he opposes the fact that, in his mind, Jimmy Dore has done a full false equivalence between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And, Jimmy couldn't bring himself to vote for Hillary Clinton, and he vociferously continued to argue against Hillary Clinton even after the primary. So I think Sam took issue with that, and he has repeatedly and aggressively gone after Jimmy Dore. So, all this being said, basically what I'm trying to do is set the table here and say, I don't really know the guy. I don't really know if I like him. He's been a little douchey to a friend of mine, Jimmy Dore, and I think he's kind of mischaracterized some of his arguments. But the reason he got fired was complete and utter bullshit. So, here's why he was fired. This is a tweet of his from 2009. Don't care regarding Polanski, but I hope if my daughter is ever raped, it is by an older, truly talented man with a great sense of... I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Mise en scene. I have a feeling that the scene is pronounced weird because it's, like mise en scene or whatever the fuck. But anyway, what he's doing here is he's mocking people on the left who are defending child rapist Roman Polanski. So, and it's actually pretty obvious because I'm not sure there's a single person on earth who would want to see their daughter raped. So, to say, I hope if my daughter is raped, like the guy who does it has talent, it's obviously satire. And Sam, did a segment where he spoke about how I'm being attacked by people on the far right, and they're mischaracterizing this tweet. And here's the rest of the context. At the time that this tweet was sent out, there was some sort of a fucking petition or list or whatever to allow Polanski back in the country and not arrest him and all that shit. So Sam is attacking those people who are flippant about a child rapist. But MSNBC said, we don't care. We don't want to hear any dissent or any trouble or any rumblings online about how we're defending somebody who said something that we don't like, so we're just going to, fuck it, just close your eyes, cover your ears, and just say, go away, fired, Sam, go away. The person who's responsible for bringing this tweet back up to try to smear Sam is this guy, Mike Cernovich. This guy is a clown of a human being. I mean, he's an absolute joke. He's a, far right-wing guy. He was big time on the Trump train. And he's just a weirdo. He's like semi-conspiracy theorist, obvious idiot. So here's the part of this that gets under my skin more than anything else. I tweeted this. So Sam Seder gets fired over a joke, but idiot far-right wingers like Cernovich portray themselves as anti-PC police, snowflake-fighting, free speech warriors? Fuck you, Mike, you fucking loathsome smear merchant. Because that's what he is. Either he's an idiot and he didn't realize that this wasn't a joke, or he realized it, but he didn't care and he wanted to smear him to get a left-winger fired. So that tweet encapsulates exactly how I feel about this. The same people who cloak themselves in the Constitution and the First Amendment and shriek from the rooftops that all they care about, they're so principled and all we care about is free speech and the free exchange of ideas. And then the second they think they can get somebody on the left for something taken out of context that they find offensive, they, like cackling hyenas over a carcass, they call for this person to get fired. It is as hypocritical as could possibly be. Now, the plot thickens. Cassandra Fairbanks, see right here the tweet that was at me, Cassandra Fairbanks. She is a interesting character. She supported Bernie Sanders in the primary. Then she went full-on Trump train afterwards. Now, listen, if you're somebody who supported Bernie and then you couldn't bring yourself to vote at all in the general election, I can understand that. I don't agree with you, but I get where you're coming from. If you're somebody who voted for Bernie and then said, even as far, I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson. Okay, I think it's a little weird, but I still kind of see where you're coming from. If you voted for Jill Stein, I definitely see where you're coming from. I'm in New York. I voted for Jill Stein. Now, I said a million times, if I wasn't in New York, if I was in what could be a swing state, I would have sucked it up and voted for Hillary. But bottom line is, if you went from voting for Bernie to nobody, I get it. If you went from voting for Bernie to Jill, I get it. If you went from voting for Bernie to Gary Johnson, I barely get that one, but I still kind of get it. If you went from going to Bernie to sucking it up and voting for Hillary, I get it. But if you went from Bernie to Trump, I don't get it. You're just wrong. You just went to an ideology that's the polar opposite. Because even the most charitable interpretation of Trump's campaign would be, okay, maybe he's a little bit economically populist, he won't do trade deals. But at the same time, he says he wants to lower wages. He literally said that in a debate that wages are too high. And then, of course, there's the open imperialism. I mean, Trump was calling for taking out their families, which means killing civilians in the Middle East on purpose, talking about killing the families of ISIS. He openly called for torture. So there's no, to go from Bernie to Trump is what? It's just really, really, really dim, and it shows you're not really a deep thinker. But anyway, she said, oh, look, the left finally cares about free speech now that it's a joke about pedophilia. I find, by the way, that multiple right-wingers came at me with this when I tweeted against Cernovich. And it's fucking hilarious because it doesn't take much for me to prove these idiots wrong. I have segments where I defended Milo Yiannopoulos' free speech. I have segments defending Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. In fact, I make a point of doing segments defending the speech of people I disagree with. Why? Because I'm principled. And because I actually care about this issue. I don't want people deplatformed. I don't want people censored. I don't want people fired over jokes. I don't want, even if they have genuinely odious opinions. So I tweeted back at her. Here we go again. Hi, Cassandra. Here's the left, me, defending Milo's speech. I defend it across the board. Now you send me your defense of left-wingers on free speech grounds. By the way, haven't heard back from her yet. By the way, Paul Joseph Watson also, came at me originally and said, well, I understand why MSNBC fired him. The joke, and he put that in quotation marks, was about child rape. Well, to Paul Joseph Watson's credit, he's, by the way, the Prison Planet guy who's an affiliate with Alex Jones. He did flip, and he tweeted support for Sam Seder after I showed him the context, number one, that it was a joke, but also said to him, look, even if it wasn't a joke, the whole point of caring about free speech, which Paul Joseph Watson, he makes a big thing about that. He says it's like a defining feature of his ideology. The whole fucking point of it is to defend people who you personally find odious. It's so easy for all of us to just fucking go out there when we agree with somebody and talk about free speech, free speech, free speech. The real test of your principles is, are you going to apply it in the tough situations? And then, by the way, for Cassandra to say, oh, look, the left finally cares about free speech now that it's jokes about pedophiles. Actually, no, Cassandra. The ACLU, which is generally regarded as a pretty left organization, they've defended in court neo-Nazis. They're defending Milo in court right now. Glenn Greenwald, same thing. Super consistent on his stance with speech. T.J. Kirk, consistent on his stance with on free speech. Even a guy like Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, he's done segments defending Ben Shapiro when there were people on the social justice warrior authoritarian left trying to get Ben Shapiro to not speak at a college. Cenk Uygur did a segment saying, no, I don't agree with that. So it's just not true when they try to say, oh, now you care about his speech. No, I've cared about it all along, which is why I did segments defending Milo, why I always make a point to defend people who I despise. They, on the other hand, do not. With the exception, of course, of Paul Joseph Watson, who originally was kind of on the fences, if not against Sam Seder, and then we flipped him by showing him the context of it. Now, it gets even funnier. Look at this. Mike Cernovich blocked me when he read my tweet that absolutely owned his punk ass, this one. Okay? He saw this tweet, and insta-block. And then look at this next one here. Look at this. I reported this tweet for targeted harassment. Do not reply to it, friends. It's what they want. They play the victim. Report it as it's harassment of me and inciting harassment. Are you fucking kidding me? So, in other words, I attacked this guy for being a little snowflake Cernovich. Are your feelings hurt? Are you triggered? Do you need a safe space? I attacked him as being a snowflake, and then he instantly proves my point. By the way, I've literally blocked 0 people on Twitter. I've literally reported 0 people on Twitter. And the number of people I've gotten fired over a joke, 0. Mike Cernovich insta-blocked me. And then instantly tried to get me banned from Twitter or suspended. Simply for calling him an idiot right-winger and a loathsome smear merchant. And for accurately pointing out that he's the right-wing PC police. He's a social injustice warrior. He is a snowflake. By the way, that's the new name for Mike Cernovich. Snowflake Cernovich. Snowflake Cernovich. He gets so sad when you call him out on his hypocrisy. And he literally got a lefty fired for a joke. He got somebody fired for an out-of-context joke from 2009. I don't want to hear another fucking word from these hypocrites on the far right about free speech or the First Amendment. And by the way, to be clear, I understand that this is not about the legality of the First Amendment. This isn't actually about the law. That's clear. I understand that. Everybody understands that. Because MSNBC has a right to fire or hire anybody they want for whatever reason or non-reason they want. But it's about defending the principle of it. So this isn't about the legality of it. It's about the principle of it. But I've never seen such bigger hypocrites. And, to go back to the Cassandra Fairbanks one for a second here, let's say for a second it was true that I was a hypocrite and I had never defended right-wingers for their speech. Her answer in that situation is still, oh, I guess I want to be an equal and opposite hypocrite. Because look, she's saying, oh, look, the left finally cares about free speech now that it's jokes about pedophilia. But has she said anything in favor of Sam Seder? Saying, hey, look, I think the left are hypocrites on this, but I just want everybody to know I support Sam Seder here because he got fired over an out-of-context joke. And that's fucked up. Nope, she didn't say that at all. So even if it were true that I was a hypocrite, which obviously it's not because I've done countless segments defending the free speech of right-wingers, what she's saying here is a non-response. What she's saying here is, I like being a hypocrite as well, just from the other angle. So, by the way, on Twitter, hashtag Snowflake Cernovich. Let's get this going here. And MSNBC, shame on you. Shame on you for capitulating just because some idiots on the fringes of the internet are making hypocritical arguments and taking shit out of context. Shame on you for saying, I don't want to have any problems ever for any reason whatsoever. So I'm just going to cover my eyes, cover my ears, and say, just fire him, get rid of Sam, get rid of him. So, MSNBC should fucking hire Sam Seder right back immediately. And again, you're talking to a guy, I really have no opinion of Seder. Haven't spoken to him ever. He's kind of been douchey to Jimmy Dore. I think he kind of is mischaracterizing some of his arguments, whether that's on purpose or not, whatever. But he shouldn't have been fired for what he said. What he said was a joke and it was taken out of context. And by the way, even if he did say something that was genuinely loathsome, I still don't think he should get fired. I mean, MSNBC has had on as contributors literal Roman Polanski apologists. And I think that's absolutely odious and disgusting that they have that opinion. But, by the way, I still am not going to go out of my way to what? Try to get those people fired? I don't give a shit. They're assholes and they're fucking rape apologists. Just like Cernovich. Look at this one. By the way, how ironic is it that this fucking moron who has shit like this in his past that he said is trying to get other people fired because he's offended by their jokes? Have you guys ever tried raping a girl without using force? Try it. What? What? Try it, Mike? Try it. It's basically impossible. Date rape does not exist. Are you fucking kidding me? So this is, by the way, an opinion that's absolutely disgusting and odious. Now, am I going to try to put together a fucking petition to get this idiot fired from whatever dumbass ventures he's engaged in right now? You know, whoever has employed this moron, am I going to, pile on and try to get this guy fired from whatever he's doing? No. Because I'm not a loathsome clown like he is. I'm not trying to muck up outrage to hang somebody's livelihood over their head. This guy, look, this is a genuinely disgusting opinion. And he is literally a rape apologist. This is the definition of being a rape apologist. So you know what I'll do about this? I will call him a rape apologist. I'm not going to start a petition to try to get him fired. I'm not going to fucking try to ruin his life because he's a douche. But again, because I'm consistent on shit like this, and these guys are not. So, Mike Cernovich, hashtag Snowflake Cernovich. His feelings are hurt, he's triggered, he needs a safe space. Snowflake Cernovich, not another fucking word about free speech or the First Amendment. Not another fucking word. Cassandra Fairbanks, not another fucking word. You are hypocrites. It's absolutely disgusting. It's pathetic. And MSNBC should hire Sam Seder back immediately.